physically, to be able to have that fortitude year after year after year, to be able to get out there, compete, and try to win a CrossFit Games title?
Back in 2019, that's the best I've ever finished at the CrossFit Games. I took second.
Yeah.
And that year, the lead up to the games was probably the toughest that I'd had. I didn't qualify through the Open. At the other qualifiers, I did okay, but not very well. I took like third, where I prior to that had been winning competitions.
Yeah. Right.
And was just in this mindset of like, all right, maybe I'm starting to lose it. Like I can't hang with the big dogs anymore. And so by the time the games rolled around, I was of the opinion that perhaps I was getting toward the end of my career and I wanted to really enjoy it as if it were my final year, right? So stepped into 2019, fully zoomed out and just wanted to appreciate the experience, soak it all in, kind of like it was the last hurrah, and crushed it and almost won the games that year.
Yeah.
And so that was really cool for me, that realization of letting go of all that anticipation and anxiety can be very freeing and allow you to perform better. That's been a battle that I've had with myself in my head for the last at least 2 years, deciding what I want to continue to pursue, how realistic it is to pursue those things, and I'll get into a little bit more detail on that in a second.
Yeah.
And yeah, where I wanted to just draw the line, I think, because for the last decade, I've had the singular goal of trying to win the CrossFit Games. Over that course of time, I've gotten relatively close, and a lot of other cool accomplishments along the way too, like have won the Open, have won a ton of regionals events, have won semifinals, have won outside competitions. So like I've done everything but won the CrossFit Games pretty much.
Yeah.
And so that was the one thing that was driving me to kind of continue pursuing it to this magnitude, to this degree. Competing in the way that we do, you have to have that really lofty goal that you're striving for in order to push yourself as hard as we do. Otherwise, like, kind of what's the point? And so if it's not realistic that I'm going to win the CrossFit Games, but I'm training and living my life like I am going to, I'm like at odds with myself internally all the time. And so I made the conscious decision, like, I'm gonna let go of that as being my sole focus.
Yeah.
And that's going to allow me to breathe a little easier, to put my energy into other fun, productive, positively impactful things. I'm still going to train really hard and perform to the best of my ability, but it's not all with the intention of, hey, my only goal is to win the CrossFit Games. Coming around. You can hang out on the step. What's up, dude?
Are you someone who at times during your period of being a pro CrossFitter have identified yourself as a CrossFitter, or have you always been able to separate who you are from what you do?
I would say it's a little bit of both. That might be the easy answer,
Sure.
Right down the middle. But as much as CrossFit has shaped my lifestyle over the years, I don't want to just have that be all that I do. You know, when I try to, as much as I can, disconnect myself from CrossFit when I'm not doing it. Obviously in the gym, I'm doing CrossFit, I'm focusing on CrossFit, but when we're out to dinner with even a group of our friends who are CrossFitters, I oftentimes try to avoid that in conversations just to have the psychological balance in my life of not having that be the overwhelming thing, you know? But I would love to have a really positive impact on the world in some way. I feel like I've tried to do that through the sport of CrossFit and perhaps have had little touches and tastes of it. I don't know what it will be, but hopefully something that can make people live like happier, more fulfilled, more driven lives.
So let's just close down and go, okay, you're coming to the end of your career. Of course, your attention and status will go down the longer that you're away from the sport as a high-performing individual.
Mm-hmm.
What do you hope people remember you for?
You could be remembered as the nice guy, but how is that changing the world? I think if you are to reframe that perspective a little bit and say, like, I helped encourage people to be kind to other people, to realize that you can be nice and have fun and, like, I don't know, positive in that way, that you can be joyful and pursue difficult things. I think that is important for me, just helping people shift their mindsets and enjoy what they do and bring joy into their lives in general. I don't know yet 100% what that looks like. I think there is an element of uncertainty there, which is both exciting and kind of nerve-wracking. I do know for certain that Joanna and I would both love to have kids. And so I think being a father, I'm newly a husband, which is really fun, but those titles are going to end up being incredibly important to me as well, which I'm really looking forward to. I don't know, I'm hoping that it's involved in the health and fitness world, but like, there's a chance that in 5 years I'm doing real estate. Like, I don't know, I totally made that up, but I just don't know exactly what the future holds, but I'm excited for it.
The chat I had with Noah resonated a lot with who I am as an athlete and how I want to live my life. Particularly the quote, "Finding joy in doing difficult things," is something that I won't forget for a long time to come. We take Noah, who's towards the end of his career and thinking of taking as much joy as possible in this final year of CrossFit Games as an individual.